everyone, and welcome to this video about CPOE. Well, we're going to talk about orders and order sets in Millennium. I have to confess, this was one of the more difficult videos to put together because the subject matter is very conceptual. There's very little visuals in it, but I promise you that if you stick with me and go through it, it'll make your life easier at the end. We will still do a few demos to apply those concepts that we learn. So, CPOE is computerized provider or computerized physician order entry. It's basically taking your orders directly from your computer and executing them instead of you having to write orders and have someone else enter them into the system. Computerized orders are the backbone driving all workflow in a modern HIS. It allows for real-time internal checks and balances as you're doing those orders to make sure that there's no contradictions, duplications, and errors. But also what's important is the concept of tasking, is that after you're done with each order, the system delivers the order directly to the correct staff or system to have this order executed. Orders have to be tasked appropriately for them to work. You have access to all the orders in the system, literally thousands, and you can see how things become overwhelming and one can start making mistakes because of this unfettered access to all these orders everywhere. Everything, though, is driven by an order. Medications, lab investigations, diagnostic imaging, ECGs, consults, referrals, things that have to do with patient care from, putting in Foleys and giving crutches and, wound dressing or bladder scans, admissions, discharges, transfers between sites, communication between different departments and different personnel, including things like your out-of-country billing. They're all in order that you have to enter into the system so that actions will follow. The best thing about CPOE is that there's no middleman. This allows extreme efficiency. There are no papers to be filled, there are no faxes to be made, there's no one transcribing your orders and putting them in a computer, there are no MARs to fax, there's really nothing. It's straight from you to execution. The worst thing about CPOE is, again, there's no middleman. This means there's a single point of failure, and that single point of failure is you. On a lighter note, let's talk a little bit of the hierarchy of orders. There are thousands of orders in the system, and these can be combined to create subphases, and then subphases and single orders are combined to create order sets. Here's an example of a single order. Phenylmandelic acid in a 24-hour urine sample. Each order has countless fields that you can modify. The blue circle with an X here indicates that there is a mandatory field, and these mandatory fields are highlighted in yellow. These are the bane of my existence because many of them are not necessary, but yet they are there, and we will keep working on them to try and reduce them. Now, multiple orders from the same category are put together in a subphase. This makes execution easy and bring together orders that usually go hand in hand together. And you can see multiple subphases that we have created for the emergency department. Here's an example. This is a pediatric abdominal pain and vomiting subphase. So you have multiple antiemetics that you can use, predetermined dosages for them, predetermined timing to make life easier for you so you don't have to go and edit each one of those orders. But it also has the common analgesics, whether it be acetaminophen, ibuprofen, ketorolac, or morphine. Now, as we said, orders from different categories as well as subphases can be put together to create order sets, which are the highest level in the hierarchy of orders. There are many order sets that we have put together for the emergency department. In reality, this is where you should do most of your work. The reason you want to do that is because we have put these together with the right tests, with the common dosages, with as many parameters that we can anticipate for you, choices that are selected and unselected, as you can see here in this ED abdominal pain order set, where things like diet and IV solutions and medications, you have all your choices. Some are pre-selected, some are not, and you have the most common parameters already entered with options for you. Every time you click one of those arrows, it'll give you different options. Not only that, but these we have made sure that they are tasked appropriately so the task will go to the appropriate person in the emergency department. If you pick your own orders as single orders, you have to make sure that these are tasked to the right person, including all the other details. We have done all this legwork for you, so unless it's something very small like a single ankle x-ray, use the order sets. That way you are sure that the errors are minimized as much as possible. Order sets and subphases are sometimes referred to in Millennium as power plans. So if you hear the word power plans, it's a collection of orders put together to do a certain task, and they include subphases and order sets. So the stages of a CPOE. The first thing you need to do is you need to find the order, and that sometimes is very hard. Then you need to select the appropriate order. And then you need to modify the order to make sure it fits your needs and the patient's needs. Before signing the order, when you go to sign, the system will do some checking in the background, and there are something it picks up, like if it's missing a mandatory field. When you sign the order, the system will again in the background verify and check that there are things that need to be done. For example, it'll pick up contraindications, it'll pick up interactions with medications, etc. And once those are sorted, the order is tasked. From tasking, the order is completed. And now this could be a simple thing, just like, fitting someone with crutches and that's the end of the story, to a complex order like getting a CT scan. Sometimes the journey of the order ends here, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the order has to be resulted, and the results need to be reassessed and reviewed for further action. So this is kind of the life cycle of an order. Let's talk about finding and selecting orders. This is in reality the hardest thing to do and the hardest thing to get right. It does not matter where you find your orders will all end up in the same place, which is the order tab in the patient's chart. The easiest place to find orders is in LaunchPoint in the tracker. You have several orders placed there that are common, and you can pick any one of them from there. As you pick them, they go to your basket, and then you can go ahead and sign them. Another place you can find orders is QuickOrders. This is a bunch of orders that we thought are important and commonly used in the emergency department. They're put all together with as many parameters as we can predetermine. They're all color-coded to make your life easy. They also include order sets and an ability to search the full database of orders. The third place is actually the orders tabs in the patient's chart, where you can add and search for anything you want there. This is where all orders will come to live eventually. When you click go to orders here, it'll take you there. If this system runs into a problem that things you need to modify in orders, it'll always take you there. This is the eventual home where all orders will live. And this is what it looks like. So I want you to take a mental image of this, because you're going to see this a lot. Every time you go through an order selection and signing process, unless it's a very quick order that flies right through to signature, you are going to end up here to deal with your orders. Now that we have found and selected our orders, we need to modify them. When you select orders, they show up in your basket. When you click on your basket, you'll be presented with something like this. There's a dialog box that shows all the orders that I've placed, and here I've placed 6 of them or 5 of them, some in activity, some in lab, some in procedures, and some in power plans. You always have the urge to click sign. Don't. Please click modify details. This way you can make sure all of these are exactly what you want. And most importantly, when it comes to power plans, whether they're subphases or ED order sets, you want to make sure that you have selected the appropriate item from the long list of things that are there. And if you don't modify them, this will go through signature immediately. So let's take a look what happens when you click modify details. Does this look familiar? This is the order tabs. All of your orders will end up here for signature and checking. Now in here, you're going to select and unselect the components of the orders that you need. You can also select different parameters. If you click on any of these down arrows, it'll give you several options to pick from, and then you hit your orders for signature, and that is your orders for signature. Again, you're going to feel like you want to hit sign, or you're going to feel like you want to deal with these individually. Don't. This button here is where you start. What this will do when you click it, it will take you to the first missing mandatory field and presents you with the options to pick from. And every time you do that, you go back and click it again, and it'll move you through one missing to another missing field to another missing field in succession, so you don't have to go digging for them. Now you can hit sign. So let's do some ordering demos. First, let's order from the tracker. Ordering from ED LaunchPoint or the tracker is probably the easiest and fastest way to shoot out single orders. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this medications, for example, or these lab results. Nothing is back yet. However, I can order from a group of favorites here that we thought you might want to use. You can also add your own favorites at the top. Let's say in this case, I want to order a BMP. Click. You notice once I clicked it, it added up here. I can unclick it, goes back to 0. I can click it, and then I could sign, and this will keep me here. I can sign and close. It'll take me back to the tracker. Done. You can order also from the tracker more than one thing at a time. So let's take a look, for example, at this patient's medication. I want to order Tylenol and fentanyl, and I want to give them ondansetron, and I want to give them 160 of aspirin, as well as 300 of clopidogrel. If I say sign, it's how much? Well, let's give them 650 orally of Tylenol. Let's give them 100 mics of fentanyl. Let's give them 4 milligrams IV every 12 hours of ondansetron. And that's it. The orders are signed. You can mix and match from more than one side, but what we'll do is it'll take you to the order signing page, which we will talk about later. It will do the same if you are missing a mandatory field. So if I order ECG by nursing and I say sign and close, it'll say, well, you're missing, see that blue sign says you're missing something. I'll tell them what's missing, and it'll tell me it's the reason for the exam. And to be honest, many of these do not matter to us. My default is other. And I just move on and sign, and we are done. Next, let's try a demo of ordering from QuickOrders. QuickOrders are extremely powerful. First, let's see how we can get to QuickOrders. This is what they look like. They're color-coded by category. If you are in the patient's chart, QuickOrders are here in the blue menu. And if the blue menu is hidden, you show it, and you go to ED QuickOrders. This is your tracker. Another very fast way to get to QuickOrders is to right-click anywhere in the patient's column and select QuickOrders. This will take you directly here. QuickOrders, let me expand them all and then collapse them all. You can see that QuickOrders are categorized by category and they're color-coded. These are orders that we've thought are the most important ones that you'd want to use all the time, and they are there for you to use quickly. We've also included dosage and as many parameters as we could, so you don't have to dig around for a lot of things. Let me order a few things at the same time. So in this patient, let me order a bladder scan in patient care. Let me order a peripheral IV. Let me order vision testing. And let me order crutches. But that's not it. I can still add things like, let's see what we have under special testing. ECG, spirometry, medical imaging. Let's order an IV. So I can give them an IV bolus of 2 liters. And let me also order some medications. How about some IV antibiotics and ceftriaxone 1 gram IV once. Now in this as well, you can search all the order database here. You also have access to the order sets. You can also see whatever orders that have been ordered and are still outstanding and not done. And some point of care lab. Now when I pick those, I have 6 here in my basket. Click my basket, and here they are. These are the stuff that are waiting to be signed. As I said, every time you're faced with this, resist the urge to just click sign. Always click modify. This will take you here for the orders for signature. These are the things I ordered. I can remove any of them. Say, for example, I can right click and remove visual acuity. I can change anything in those. So for example, I can click the sodium chloride and change it from 2000 to 1500 mLs. And once I'm happy with those, there's nothing else I need to change. All I'm going to do is click sign. It'll do its background check, and we are done. Our last demo is going to be dealing with the orders tab. We will add orders from there and then sign them. Let's take a minute to talk about the all-powerful orders tab. This is the patient's chart. You're familiar with it, and you will see here the tab orders under the blue menu. Let me hide the blue menu so it's not taking real estate. I want you to remember this. This is where all orders end up. It doesn't matter where you find them, how you select them, they all end up here. They end up here as they're waiting for you for signature. And if they are power plans, these are order sets or subphases that are executed. They're also categorized by type. There are a lot more in this that you can do. You can take a look at the patient's medication lists, the plans, the power plans that have been documented that aren't on this patient, as well as many other things here that I don't even know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a power plan or an order set from here. Remember, you can add it from wherever you can find it. Let's do this from the ground up. So I'm going to add a new order. In the search, I'm going to search for ED abdominal pain, and you see what I can find. There's an abdominal pain, there's a lab subphase, there's a pediatric abdominal pain. I'm going to select the adult abdominal pain, and I am done. So now this went into orders for signature, and it's waiting for me to initiate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them and decide what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. We'll keep the patient MPO. Let's ask for a second peripheral IV. I am going to give him, it gives me only 501,000. If I click on it, it does open the details, and I'm going to change this to 1,500. Maintenance infusion is fine as 100. Medications. Let's give this patient some ketorolac. Maybe I want to give them 30 milligrams. I want to give them some diamond hydronate, 50 milligrams IV. So here are some blood bank tests. I'm going to keep them so we can deal with these X's after. In the labs, let me add something else. So let's try a subphase. So I'm going to open the liver subphase. I'm going to check it. It'll open the subphase for me. There are things that are pre-selected. Say I want to add ammonia in this patient, and I'm going to return to the ED plan. Don't worry about the blue X's right now. We will deal them at the end, one go. Now, I don't want an X-ray. I don't want an ultrasound. I want a CT abdo-pelvis in this patient. And notice that we have already put in, time is now, it is urgent. Let's say I want to change this to emergent. So I'm going to double click it. This will open the details, and I can change a lot of things. But what I want to do is I want to change this to emergent, to stat. And I'm going to keep going. And I just left the yellow now because I want to deal with them all in one go. And let's say that I want to consult general surgery, and now I'm ready to go for signature. And I'm going to click orders for signature. I'll do some checks in the background. It tells me that I need to order a creatinine. It wasn't ordered on this patient, so I'm going to order it now. And now, faced here with all things for signature, you might have two urges: to hit sign, that won't move because you still have missing stuff, and you might have the urge to try and go here one by one and correct them. Don't. This tells you that there are 7 missing required details. I'm going to click that, and what it'll do is it'll jump from one to the other. Pregnant in the last transfusion? I don't know. Collection priority? I don't know. Stat? Next. Remember, most of these are done by lab or other departments. Their requirements, like, is the patient on warfarin? I don't know. I don't care right now. I'll care about it if their INR is long. Now, why am I doing an IV? I don't know. Stat. Next. Antibody screen. Stat. Creatinine. Stat. 1 missing. Now, this is the reason for exam that I left open. Now, this is the only thing that's going to go to the radiologist. So this is where your history will go. Now, let me see if I can dictate here. That'll be fun to try. Acute right lower quadrant abdominal pain with peritoneal signs. Amazing. And now we are done, and now we're ready to sign them. These are some duplicate orders. This is the final check, and it's asking me if I want to keep them or remove them. These are the same orders, so I'm going to remove the duplicate, and they're all done. I hope you found this useful. I know it was a bit long, but orders are probably the biggest task we have to master, and it's the biggest source of frustration for us, because if we can't do them, we cannot move forward with patient care. You know how to reach me if you have any questions. Thank you very much for your time.